Very excited to do this call and kind of dive into customer avatars and psychology. And the structure I would do most of the time to analyze like the potential customers, because in the end, what you're doing is analyzing the potential customers. So I want you guys to use the chat. Let me see. Use the chat. Perfect. Thank you. Use the chat to kind of let me know like where you're at in business right now. Like what's happening? Are you in the first phase? Obviously, you're coming to a level one session, so I'm assuming you're in that first phase. But I'm curious to know like where you're at in terms of your business. So, any questions, anything that you feel is not clear. So, I'll actually do this format so just to be sure that you guys are kind of consistent in this. I'll just share screen, but 1 second. It is going to give me much more leverage here. So, I want you guys to tell me like where you're at in business. So, what are you working on right now? Where I'm actually not sure even it's like grammatical like, this is the correct way, but anyway, you go with like where you're at in business right now, and second, like this is like I just want to understand like step one, step two, step three, like probably like a little bit more on that. And I want you guys to also talk about like what's kind of your challenge here. So what do you feel like is challenging in this journey, right? And I'm curious about that. Every time I'm looking at a launch or looking at something that's in the e-commerce space, I know it's very difficult. So I know it's like challenging because you have all these skills that you don't have, or you're kind of building at least to a certain level. You need to stack them. It's like you need to really like you need to learn everything, and it feels like an overwhelming, I would say, world. But the goal would be to taking it one step at a time. If you look at my last session we did, we really focused on like one category and or one element, and we kind of dissected that. So I'm looking to do something very similar. So I'm curious to know where you guys at in terms of your journey and what is the challenge. And again, I know it's like probably you can't even read it, so that's why I'm saying it again. If you don't have the audio, obviously you're going to see me moving, and you need to turn on the audio and listen to what I'm talking about here. Otherwise, there's no benefit. It's like I don't think you can actually follow this with just visuals. So yeah, I want you guys to do that. I'll just go through the chat a little bit to see. Can you guys actually see my chat when I load it in my screen? Because I'm kind of sharing everything. If that's the case, put in a yes just to see if it's actually private or not. So stage one, let's see. Okay, so let me see. If you guys can see the chat, because I'm loading the chat. I don't know if actually Zoom would allow you guys to see it. If that's the case, put in a yes just to see that it's not private, that everything is shared publicly. Yes, I can see it. Okay, thank you, Jessica. Awesome. So it's not private. So I was like, maybe it is. Okay, it's not. So you guys can see it. I can't hide anything. Let me see. Okay. So Louise, stage one, just about ready to get my product validated. So yeah, in this phase, when you're in that kind of validation process, there are like different categories we talked about last time, and it's going to be the same thing. Even if you go with a person that's going to be validating, they're going to look at the margins, right? So they want to see if you actually have enough money after paying for the ads and paying for the cost of goods to be profitable. That's what they look at in the essence like of what's actually validation, right? And then they're going to look at is there some demand for the product and if you have a solution for a certain problem. Most of the time they want it to be niche, not because it's actually, you need to have it in that setup. It's more of the more you're niche, the more you're actually hyper targeting an audience, right? So it's like you're providing a solution for a specific person. And that's giving you more, let's say, odds of of converting people, right? And that's why you look at kind of those kind of things. So that goes to my four categories. So the validation for the product in terms of the margins. So that's the KPIs part. So probably you're going to go through that. Second category would be the the demand. So it's actually people buying what is like a need that you need you're looking to solve. And third would be the avatar, which is what we talk about probably today, but it is pretty much diving into a problem for a person or a category and solving that. So you can appeal it to them. It's like if I was running an ad for you guys, I'll probably talk about something specific, let's say ecom and making money and tackling problems like your revenue. You're kind of just exchanging your time for money versus business where you do the same but at scale, right? But yeah, initially you're gonna put in a lot of time, but you're gonna get rewarded over time. So that's the leverage of business. So that's the goal here is to really tackle these things. Farhan, I am doing profit calculation, step three. Yes, so it's the same thing. Your goal would be to go like if you're validating, because this is still validation, enough to a certain degree. So so if you're doing the profit calculation, and it is like making sure that you have enough money, just in the essence, is you're acquire like business wise, you have like the cost of goods and you have the price, and the difference is what you can afford to acquire a customer. So what we're doing in the Google Sheet, if you kind of look at the Google Sheet entirely that Ecom Capital is providing, it's pretty much removing those things. So removing the estimated CPA, which is the cost per acquisition, removing the cost of goods, and the rest is your margins, like what you have remaining. And it's kind of an estimation. So again, they're just looking at this is what you should charge. This is what it takes for you to fulfill. Difference, you need to acquire a customer, so you need to pay ads to bring in people. So it's considering that, and the rest, like after that, there's like a small portion that's your profit. And they want this to be as big as possible, and that's what we do through validation. So it's kind of the part of it. I just finished Amir. I just finished step three. Awesome. So yeah, same thing here. I think you're in the same step at four, and kind of going into like the avatar and the offer and things like that. So it's a good step. And today we're gonna talk about like different things, and it's gonna be tackling things that I'll probably see very valuable for you. Jessica, uh, very new, may have found my niche and product need to start my avatar. So you guys are coming to the right call, right? Because I remember back in the days, I would do like a media buying call, and people would come in and be like, "Oh, we're looking for like Klaviyo email marketing," or actually the opposite, email marketing call like on Monday. It used to be just Facebook ads. I was like, it's gonna be confusing for some. They're coming for email marketing. They want to learn about Klaviyo, and like we're talking about Facebook ads like for the full hour. I'm like, it's just not segmented. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the avatar specifically, using your competition to analyze like what they're doing. Um, Hi, hey Haman, I'm looking for products. Oh, you're looking for a lot of things here. Products. That's gonna be research, and I mentioned, I don't know if you're aware of it, but in my previous call, I
Yeah.
talked about next week, I'd say I think Monday, doing
Mhm.
a like a full tutorial on using spy tools to find products. So pretty much product research. And yeah, we're gonna be doing that.
Okay. So is it any session gonna happen this week or next week? Sorry, I missed something.
It's next week for product research. It's next week Monday. I'm gonna be like doing a full session on just product research,
Oh wow.
using. I'll start with one tool, and I'll
Yep.
try to. If you guys really like got value from it, I might just explore other tools. But I want to start with the first one, and we're gonna just look at how I do like research, like how you find actually products, and
Mm.
what's the process looking like. So that's yeah, that's a call that we're gonna be doing. I think again, I mentioned like next Monday. I think it's Monday in the morning, depending on where you're at. But I think yeah, it's Monday in the morning.
Thank you so much. It's gonna be really so helpful. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Any questions? Also, you can still ask questions in this call, but just let you know that I'll be like more focused on that area next Monday. One second. Jason, finishing up step five in 4.0, definitely ready to validate and get moving forward and build a launch. Awesome. So yes, this is like a as I mentioned, like when you're ready, you know it's like a you did all the steps, and the next thing would be validation, just to be sure that everything is good. Most of the time, you have like information on your product, and then you start in that process of getting things done, and there are some variables that would happen, like you get a supplier that's going to update the quote. So you always need to kind of keep track on the validation process on the side. So if there are some variables that are changing, that you're aware of them, so you can kind of track them. That's going to be the challenging part. So just make sure that as you go through it, that you keep an eye on like what are we actually validating, and keep in mind we validate the margins all the time. Like you need to have good margins to acquire customers. So if your price or your cost of goods would change, everything is changing. Second is the demand, which should not change unless you're really looking at a trendy product, but should be very stable. And then the differentiation, which should not change. So basically, I would just keep an eye on the cost of goods all the time with the suppliers to make sure that your margins are not affected. Um, Can we talk about USP? There was a question based off the analysis of the competitor. What make it 10 minutes, right? Okay. What need our pain point? Okay, so this is a question I think in one of the documents, correct? In one of the
Yes.
yes, awesome. So yeah, I'll probably here with based on the analysis that compares with market can identify. Okay, so for this right now, like this is actually we we can kind of address this in the analysis of the competition in terms of their avatar and still go into this exact like thing. What pain point are they addressing and what are things that are not they're not addressing? So I'll be talking about this. I'll just add it in things probably to address. I'll try to go through this with the avatar analysis and I'll do so it's all good. Luis, Amin, how you just think about having hyper niche. This is the one thing that I overthink. I think my product is very niche. Is there such a thing as too niche? If so, as much as you can. Okay, I'll just make this a little bit bigger because I have trouble reading. Okay, I think my product is very niche. Is there such a thing as too niche? Not necessarily, and if so, as much as you can really specifically targeted niche. But to me, a concern would be that there is enough of a target audience. Okay, I have done research. I think there is enough of a market that will be able to purchase in this very particular niche and make profit just by the way. Okay, so how I look at this, to answer your question, I don't think there is like very niche. At the end, it's just like you're telling me like if I go to a profile and like to just make sure it's actually I'm going like deeper. So this is like instead of just like a broad things, I know the exact like problem and I'm targeting like this specific thing. So that's good. For the market, if the market is like massive, then your price could be a little bit lower. So your price actually could be like you can afford to have like lower prices. But if the like the market is not big, so let's say the market is very small, then you need to have a higher price. That's just probably the challenge is because you have like less people. So to make a good amount of money, you need to increase the price by default. So if the market kind of structure, unless it's like there's not enough people to actually even sell this, if we have like an audience that's I would say good. Like it's not necessarily very, very, very small. So we're talking like 5,000 people in Australia, but we're talking about like you have like hundreds of thousands of people in that category. Then the goal would be if it's really small audience, then to charge more. And if it's a big audience, then you can afford to have like lower prices. So it's going to be like based on this. Because if you're very niche, like if I'm let's say targeting myself, and I'm like just I know that for example in my category, let's say a senior consultant, like a solution for them, and there's like maybe 10,000 of them in let's say Montreal as an example here, just a city. So I know I have 10,000 people, and it's not a big audience, and I know that I can target like myself very very accurately. So let's say I have a solution for myself. Let's say time allocation, like some kind of a fitness solution, time management that would help clear up some time for these guys. So let's say it's like a very like a targeted solution. I'm not gonna charge $10 for it. It just doesn't make sense because this audience is not big enough for me to even make money, right? So I'm gonna be charging like probably 50K or like an audience of this size for per order. So I'll try to find something that's valuable for this audience. Obviously, I'm not going to pay 50K for like for something like just a one coaching session or something. But I'm going to be thinking about it, but it depends on the value. But you understand the point. So it's not like I'm not going to be like charging $10 for this at all. I'm going to be charging a premium price because the audience is not that big. So I don't need to make 50K. I just need one, right, of this 10,000. And I can afford to acquire them because I can actually spend on ads, let's say 30K to acquire one customer, which is, I know it's insane, but I can make 20K profit if really I don't have any cost of goods to acquire this customer. And this is how you look at it. So if you have a small audience, you should charge a higher price. If I charge $10, I'm done. Like I won't reach them because I don't have the spend to really get that reach. And on top of this, like I sell to the full audience, like that makes sense. Like probably, sorry, 100K. If I sell to everyone in this audience, it just doesn't make sense. I'm looking to sell maybe to one, and I'll make 50K, and that's good. So I'm just looking at if it's a smaller audience, charging a premium price. And ideally, if you're very targeted, you're looking at a very like you should like it should be a very segmented solution. So again, we can put this like add in like few zeros and decrease the zeros here. So probably going to be talking about $500 if it's really like in the millions. So I hope it makes sense. John. Okay. The CPA destroys my net profit. So 15, 25. So if your CPA is 15 to 25, which by the way is not a very high target, it's actually it's a very small, like it's not a big number. Like CPA of 15 is good. My question would be like, what would be like, are you running ads first? So you mentioned like a CPA is destroying, say your calculation. So are you running ads? It's the first question. And
Um,
the second, yes, sorry, go ahead.
no, not running ads. I've just done the product and niche validation, and I've come to the profit calculator and just putting everything in there. I'll put like for the CPA 15 per unit, and yeah,
Okay.
the gross profit margin just goes to 10%, unfortunately.
So, um, I think that 15 to $25 is actually not high. This is actually not a high CPA. Your goal would be like, how can you charge more? Is it like actually possible to charge more? Because if you charge more, then you can actually afford this. So if you can't charge more, then your cost of goods is too high. Like how much it cost you to manufacture this product?
For on Alibaba, it's like 80 cents.
Yes.
It's hydrocolloid.
Okay.
What me?
Okay. So it's like, then how much are you charging for this? Like to just a
Um,
base price?
the base price would be $25, $30 per
Okay, so
unit.
this is like, so you have a problem here, not because the CPA is not logical, it's just because you have a very low ticket item. So
Mm.
your by default, if you have a very like, and by the way, this is 80 cent, it's not the actual number, it's still gonna add shipping, probably $3, another three maybe for other fees, but yeah, I would go like you have like $6 probably as a cost of goods, if not 10, right? So it's like something in this area. So you should be charging at least 30 for this. That's the first thing. We need to charge more. But that's not the only thing here is if you're running with a lower ticket item, your CPA by default can't be high. Otherwise you're gonna just put all like in ads, you're
Mm.
not gonna get any profit. So you should estimate your CPA to be lower, but the problem is right now with Meta, it's better to have higher margins. So my goal would be probably how can we bundle, like if you can bundle this and have like a perceived value of 50, that's going to be much better. So you
Mm.
have one for 25, maybe, or 20. Can we have two for 50 or a bundle of three for 75? That's going to be what we look for here. So increase the value of one item, like just sell more, so that you can actually afford the CPA of this 15 to 25, because this won't move even if you increase the bundle. So I would do like a bundle and push the price 75, and this would, if you do this, the math should be good. 25 and you have like really good margin. So you're paying like a 0.8 cent three times, and you can afford these costs here to ship one time, and then the perceived value is much higher. If the perceived value for one is 25, three should be 75. Let's say even cut it to 70. So your numbers would make sense. Does it make sense like how I'm structuring this right now?
Yeah, perfect sense. Thank you. That's awesome.
So that's how I would look at it. So just like sell more of it.
Thanks.
Good. Great. Yeah. So just like solution wise, you just think about like what's the easiest way to push more the price, and how can you push the price without necessarily like affecting the perceived value, sell more instead of one, three. Right? By default, they can afford it because they're willing to pay 25 for one. Uh, Mama D, Mamat, I'll just like read it one word. I don't know, like I just separated my mind. It's just how I think. Anyway, Google Trend. Okay, so you have a link, so you're pretty much prepared. Google Trend, SEMrush. Okay, so you have like a okay, so you have actually links here. Okay, so I think this is Ecom Capital links. Tutorials out here. Tutorials. So how can we download? Oh, okay. So you're asking about how to download this. So Google Trend is, you can't download it. It's just like a search. SEMrush is a tool. Jungle Scout is a tool. So these are just tools, right? Or links. So ChatGPT. So how can we download? Yeah. So these are not probably like a just website. So just it's a like a Google Trend. You just go to Google Trend. Jungle Scout is a paid tool. And yeah, so all of these you need to click on the links. If you don't know how to do it, please add in a post in the community, and you have like the team helping you. So just that's how I would do it. Just like a post in the community, and you're gonna get support like right away. Anyway, so this is for let me see how many people actually in this call. So we have 16 people. How many updates I got? Let me see. I have one, two, three, four, five, actually six. Okay. I want you guys to, we still have like 10 people to go. I want you guys to update me. I'll just come back to that first. Here, where you're at right now. like anyone that didn't mention this, and what is your current challenge? So maybe like just like where you're at and the slash your current challenge. I'm curious to know about this just to segment a little bit my call. So do that. So where you're at right now, it can be like I just started, right? I don't even, I didn't do anything. It's okay. That and where like the next challenge would be pretty much engaging in the content and organizing my time. So those are probably things that I would put in if you're just starting out, right? So yeah, that's gonna be how I would do it. So I want you guys to use a chat. And so far, by the way, just to one second. So far, things I'm going to be talking about today, avatar. I'll allocate some time to this. And second, USP. And specifically using the competition to see the gap. This is a question I read that earlier. So this is using the competition just to look at the ads. So we're going to be spending time looking at the competition. So we're going to do both of these. So far, this is like the main challenge I've seen or kind of thing is related to this call beside the questions I answered. But I want you guys to use the chat and I seem to not see like and update me to where you're at. So I'm curious to know about that. Let me see. Use the chat. I'll give you some time. Like I think it's in the mastermind. Belinda, she's like very fast at typing things. So she literally came in and was like, "Oh, I'm an expert in typing." Whenever I like she came in like late and she posted very quick a message. I was like, "That's impressive." But I feel like you guys, when I ask the questions, like you're not typing very fast or you're not typing at all. So I thought like it's just not fast. So I want you guys to go where at in business and the challenge. And so far, again, I have these two things. Those are the things I'm going to be talking about. Okay, challenge for me. How can I calculate profit in dropshipping? Okay, how can I calculate profit in dropshipping? So we'll show you how to do that actually.
Thank you.
That's not it's like not a complicated one, but it might be for like if I think about it, it's actually it might be a little bit complicated, but let's see.
Might be easier for you, but not for me, honestly.
Yeah, actually, I'm like, I know it's like, if you look at the previous, like we did it like on Monday. I actually tried to explain this Google Sheet really like step by step. I know it's like it's not easy, and I actually got a feedback that this is like a little bit more complicated than what I anticipated, like in terms of just the complexity of the numbers. So really like look at that call, and additionally, I'll add in like right now some elements that you can leverage for this. So to calculate profit, I'll actually do like two things. I'll first do this and I'll do this. So this is a Google Sheet that I use, and at this level, you see the things in green. So if I was like to just remove all the colors for a second, so all the colors are removed. Things in green, just ignore them. This is just for someone running ads, so it's not for you right now. So you can just ignore this, ignore these numbers, like completely. Don't even look at them. They're just like on the side, something that you just, look at it for the future. It's not now. So sorry, this one here, it's not. So things in green, don't look at them. They just, in this Google Sheet, they don't have any sense right now because you're not running ads. Now, this Google Sheet, what you should do in terms of your margin and dropshipping analysis, you need to have a price for a product, which is, say, the things that you need to have in place to calculate the margin. And you need to have the cost of goods plus shipping. These are only two things that you need to input in this Google Sheet, nothing else. Price, cost of goods plus shipping. So two things. Once you do that, this Google Sheet is going to give you in blue some numbers. And these are the margins or things that you can afford to kind of to do here. And I'll put in blue your numbers that this Google Sheet is going to provide. And it's going to give you for the first one, so the first block here, break even, I'll just put it in red, break even, no profit, no loss. This is how much you can afford in general. Like after paying for the cost of goods, this is what is left. And then the payment processor, so just like Shopify payment, this is what you're getting. So $76 is before acquiring a customer. This is actually your margins that you can actually afford. Now, this is category one. Category two is profit target. So it's kind of second column. This is your CPA, like how much you can afford to acquire a customer to have like 20% net margins. So if you were to acquire a customer for $56 with these numbers here, you're going to be profitable at 20%. So it's giving you like two kind of elements in terms of your margins. And this Google Sheet here is, in my opinion, the only one you need to see your margins. Because you can see right away 76 is how much you can actually afford in general after paying for fulfillment. And 56 is the amount that you're willing to pay to acquire one customer to keep 20%. Just to show you this in a visual format, you have $100 in price,
Yeah.
and you have cost of goods plus shipping, which is kind of how you can fulfill an order, so you can't ignore it. You have, let's say, $20. So what's left here is 80, right? This is like how much is left just after this and this, right? These two. Now, problem is you have other fees, and I would categorize them like in two. Like these are the two main in ecom. First one is processing fees. Just like get this money, like the $100 here in sales. Shopify would take a small cut, which is about 4% in general, like 2 to probably 4%. This is processing fees. This is PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, so pretty much Stripe or Shopify payment. So this is like the 4%. That's the first mini expense you have. If I was to really like do the math, that's actually easy. 4% of 100, that's $4, right?
Yeah.
And then what's remaining here is pretty much $76, right? This $76, again, we just removed the cost of goods and the processing fees. So we still didn't acquire a customer here. This is our margins like before like acquiring a customer. If I come back here, that's the 76 here. That's a one. It just removed like the two first categories. Now, if I'm looking to get to 20% net, so let's say I want to get 20% net, like that's my goal. How much should I pay for the ads? Like how much to acquire a customer? That's like the last expense. This is this one here. It should be 56. So if I was to pay for ads $56, then I have net $20 margins. So then 20 after everything here, which is kind of 20% net margins. That makes sense. So take 180, remove 4, 76, remove 56, you're at 20. So the Google Sheet here is kind of giving you those two numbers quickly. 76 is this number here. It's just before the ads. And 56 is the cost you can pay for the customer. Does it make sense?
It does. And what about the cost of cost for shipping? Because in drop shipping, they do ship directly to the customer, or
Yes. Yeah. So you take this cost of goods plus shipping. Here, if you were drop shipping, it's just the price of Zendrop or AliExpress. It's just that price because it's just one thing, because it's paying one price. If you're let's say having your own ecom store, then that's the cost to produce, send to your place, and then fulfill from your place to the customer. So this cost of goods plus shipping, just to define this a little bit more for someone that, asking like, okay, what is like, this here is your price. This here, like if we're like thinking, what is this actually? It depends, are you drop shipping or are you like doing just branding? And it's still like very similar in the like technical part of it. But if you're drop shipping, it's the AliExpress price or Zendrop. It's what they're providing. It's just like you're paying one fee. This is like nothing else. They're just telling you pay us $15. We're gonna ship it and we're gonna take care of everything. So just this price here. For branding, it's kind of multi-component. So you need to sum it. So you have the price of the manufacturing, which is the Alibaba price. You have the shipping to your place, and then you have the shipping to the customer. So you need to sum like the three, and you're gonna get the total. Total would be like cost of goods plus shipping. So that's the COGS. It depends just on how you're fulfilling. If you're fulfilling with drop shipping, then you just look at one price or one cost. If you're doing branding, then you have like this multi-layer thing and you need to sum these three. And when you sum them and we come back here, this is the cost of goods. It's the one price. Okay, awesome. So I hope this answered your question, but yeah, that's how you can calculate profit. Awesome.
it really is much clear to me now. Thank you so much, Hemant.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's like I feel like this document I can really explain this multiple times because I feel like it's not clear, but it's very this Google Sheet here. I use it for like probably 6, 7 years. I think actually 8 years. The same document to optimize my ads and look at the margins. So I've been using it because it's just simple. I'll put in the price, cost of goods, I get the margins, and also I have the return on ad spend, which is something that you guys are going to be using for running ads and media buying. And also these numbers here for the optimization. But as I mentioned, you can ignore the green things, but it's going to be even more valuable as you start spending on ads. So it's going to be another layer that we're going to explore. So yes, let me see the comments. Up to Step 3, still deciding on product. On a product, my challenge is taking the leap on one product. You can literally sell anything, so I'm stuck in this loop and swapping my ideas with products all the time. So yeah, that's a challenge actually. I call it like a kind of a distraction slash shiny object kind of syndrome. Certain levels, just you see, like, there's so many opportunities, right? But what I would do here is look at what is actually my kind of risk management for this, just to kind of give you some tips. What is the risk here? If it's like different opportunities, it's kind of like I'm thinking about like just it not working, right? Say something is not working, right? But that's kind of the major like risk here. And what does not working mean actually? That's another question. And that's going to give you like a much more clarity on what to do. If it means like the MOQ is high, so you're like kind of you need to pay like $10,000, that's a high risk. If on the other hand my MOQ is actually just like 1,000, that's a lower risk. And if it's actually just getting samples and I can advertise that, and let's say we're talking about like just a few units, it's like $200, that's a much lower risk. So I'm always thinking about like what's the risk of me failing, let's say, to a certain level, and what would be the consequence. If it's like a low MOQ, $200, then the risk would be me wasting time thinking about this. And I would just try to allocate my time to learning and growing this thing. And that's, I think, your goal would be to remove that burden of going from one thing to the other, is look at the downsides and go with the lowest one downside, like the lowest, like a downside, not size, downside here and go with it. Because you're like, if you pick an opportunity with low risk, then they should not be fear. It should be just you. The fear would be you actually staying in this category, picking. So I would go with the lowest risk, so risk management, and then just focus on it and ignore any other noise. And that's how I would kind of do it, if that makes sense. So this is for the just the deciding element. Profit calculator validating. So, you know, we talked about, I think it's very challenging. I really believe that. So working out how to specifically target a most worried or concern is how to make the product what I vision into a tangible product. Yeah, so that's, I think it's a valid concern, like how to actually have that idea that you have in mind visually done. But as I mentioned, you need to look at like what's like the risk here. And probably once I figure out the lowest risk, the biggest risk would be me not doing action. So not doing action, because that results into infinite time wasted. And in business, this is like the most painful thing, because I'd rather fail fast and learn than just wait to fail after a year and get the same kind of, you know. So I'll just go to how can I fail fast? But again, you don't need to fail, but I'm just saying, like, just how to do mistakes fast, because you're going to do mistakes as you grow your business. Is like it's a even with the best I would say structure and coaching, I still do mistakes myself. So you're going to do them, but you need to just know like the kind of the level of mistakes you can afford, right? And this is like the just how I would analyze it on top of coaching and making sure everything is good. So putting all the odds on your side, additional to everything, is a goal here. And I would say most of the time I think about how can I fast, like get that result fast and or even fail fast. I actually learned a lot from my, you know, failures in general. Anyways, that's just a point on that. Let's see. Okay. I also found your table from Monday. That's very helpful. Awesome. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's okay. I presented it right now, but I feel like it's really like if you use it to the like full extent, it's gonna help you a lot for like ads and things like that. Clogs $3, 100. I might be dreaming. If you're particular niche, I'm most similar. I don't think $100 actually 10 is a good price. I think based on your spreadsheet, my product is viable. But if you have time, can you please confirm I'm doing this right? Most similar competition is 145. So if you're most, let's say we put 110 and 45. So let's just take that number, right? Let's go here. 110 and 45. 110 and 45. It's kind of like a, it's a, yeah, I was kind of aware. It's kind of at the limit, right? Because just to give you an idea, the brand I shared, we have like a, it's like one here. It's like doing that I showed like last time. Yeah, switch. It's like 160, and our hogs are actually in this area. That's 50. So we have like a this like one here, which is I know it's like a big brand, did like a a lot of volume. But this year, if I was to compare it like 160, our COGS and numbers are about the same. And we have like this. This is approximately our structure. So we have like a target, most of the time like 3, 4, but this is kind of our structure with this brand. It's a brand that's been very viable and sustainable. If I was to share like the 2020, it did volumes. It's like 4 million plus in revenue, you can see. And it was like, this is one of those where 10K and then 100K. And it actually never got less than 50K, I think, through like from 2020 to 2024. So like 4 years where we never had a month with less than probably 40K, right? So it's pretty much sustainable with like this kind of AOVs, but our margins and our numbers are looking more like this. So I would probably push this. When I saw the 45, very similar to us, but I would ideally would push it to 145. So you mentioned like 110. It is viable, so this is not a bad like number. It's just at the limit. The limit would be 1.8. So yeah, just to give you a little bit on that. What's COGS plus shipping mean? It's just the cost of goods and shipping. So cost of goods, the fulfillment kind of cost entirely. So that's thank you. That's really good. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like opportunity wise. So I think I went through every comment, but anyone joining in, I'll keep saying it. I want you guys to, I'll go back here. Oh, I lost my track. Okay, no, not here. I have a lot of whiteboards. Where you're at in business, I'm curious to, again, get more engagement just to understand more what I can do to help you guys and the challenge that you're facing. Like, what is it? And any questions, obviously, in this like challenge, like there's something not clear, like the profit is not like calculation is not clear, the process is not clear. I want to know about that so far, just to go over things I'm going to be talking about, and I still have time. Don't worry. I have the avatar. We're going to be looking at the competition, and then we have analyzing the gaps. Like, what are the kind of things that we can advertise and pain point we can talk about from just the offer itself. And that's another kind of layer here. But yeah, those are the two things I'm going to be analyzing in this call. So I want you guys, so anyone that just joined or you're here in the call listening, think about like where you're at in business right now. What phase, step 1, step 2, just starting out, and think about like what would be the challenge? Like what do you feel like is the challenge? Like is it overwhelming? Is that like a thing that you want to talk about a little bit more? And what numbers you have, then you can just put that in and I'll give you some inputs on that. And maybe that's going to be like the first layer for you to move to that next level. Because keep in mind that I can talk about Avatar for like full day and you guys are joining in. I know that some of you guys are coming to learn new things, so you're not necessarily like coming in with questions, right? But I still want you to think about that. You probably have, but you're not aware of it, like some questions in mind. And the sessions here that we're doing, it's also coaching. So it's not just me giving you like let's go with the avatar, just do ABC and it's done. That's not, I think, probably I can record a video with that. But the goal here is to understand more what you guys are working on and see what can I do to help you guys and provide like a live feedback. And that's a goal, in my opinion. Otherwise, I can record videos, right? So I'm curious to know about you guys. Just again, more information and any questions, use the chat. Otherwise, I'll start with the first part. But I want you guys to really think about it. Like, what is a challenge? And if you already participated, like you already put in, like, this is my first question. I have others. Put in your other questions. Keep asking questions. That's the right thing to learn. And yeah, I'm here for that. So it's not like I'm coming in and don't ask me questions. Interrupt me, ask me questions. It's time to learn. And I don't feel like there is any limitation in terms of the scope of this call. So you can ask me anything. Like it can be media buying, Facebook ads, email marketing, product research, validation, profit calculation, like everything. Like pretty much I touched on all these in the past. So you're good.
A good question, man.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just started, and that's my first class. I don't know if I have to put my Shopify store or I just have to follow this instruction that's later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're just starting out and you're kind of thinking like, what would be the next step, right? So should I do my Shopify store? Should I like, what is the next thing, correct?
Yeah, that's the thing because I'm a little bit lost over here. Like I don't know where to start.
Okay, so first, what you need to think about is, I'll actually simplify the process of ecom for you, like in just some steps, like just simple. So first, you need to have like, I would say, ideally like a product, right? So you're looking at first, you have a product that you looked at and you validated, and it's kind of, you already have an idea about what you need to look at. So that's the first thing, to have a product. If you don't, so let's say we're going to put a yes and no, like algorithm level. So if it's a yes or a no, we're going to take different decisions here. So yes, then yes, you're going to move to like a website and
Okay.
branding, and you're going to be looking at like what to do next year. So this is like a kind of the next level, right?
Oh,
And then if it's a yes, you have this already. Let's say put another yes, and you're going to be looking at content and ads. So we're kind of going into another category entirely, right? So this is kind of the structure. If you have a no here, so you don't have a product, then you're going to be looking at two things. You're going to be looking at models, so kind of content to understand like what are the steps, just kind of understanding how to do research and things like that. And then you're going to be product research. You're going to be in this mode of doing research. And to do this, I would say, if you have a yes here, so you actually went through the models, like you know exactly the criteria, then you need to execute. You need to start filling in things and go to the product research phase. And this here, I'll probably complement this with going to the calls level 1 market research, which I do every Monday, and
okay.
providing your ideas there, sharing things with me, and or just like if you're like part of you have like a validation call, then you can do that. So just based on how do both technically if you have the option. So this is like a validation call that some of you guys would have, again, depending on the package. And to be honest, I don't know exactly like the packages, but I know some people would have this, like they can pay for it or something. But anyway, this is like something, if you have it, do it. But otherwise, level 1, you can come to my call and then we can discuss like the validation process and everything in that regard. So based on this right now, you're talking about websites. So I'm assuming we have a yes here. So if I have a no, then you need to look at the models and go through the steps and then do the product research. And then come to my session, we can look at what you searched and looked at. And this would be the criteria. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that's going to be like a steps. If you come here to the website and you don't have a product, and then we're kind of just looking at Shopify, right? It's not necessarily like the productive thing. So the goal would be like, let's go through this and then go through this. And then we go to the call and talk about this, like the product you have. And then we're going to come here and it's going to be a yes. And we're going to go to the branding and the website and then content and ads. So it's really like your time allocation should be like this. Like first the no, go to this side.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's just my answer.
And I have a question
If
too.
there are any terms, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Like, can I steal someone idea or no? It doesn't work like that in Ecom.
So could you repeat? I didn't hear that part.
Can I steal someone idea? Like I see someone online selling some stuff. Can I just be like, I want the same thing for my store? Or
Yes,
doesn't yeah.
absolutely. So you can do that. So again, if you have a product, say you mean like they have a store, you need to still validate. So I'm not going to be just like, oh, they have a good product, but you need to look at the 4 criteria I talked about from a validation. So are the margins good? Because they might have some leverage you don't have. So are the margins good? Is there a demand? So I'm taking that opportunity and actually analyzing it and analyzing the differentiation aspect. So even if you have like a product that's trending, let's say dropshipping, we look at a lot of trendy products. And I've been in dropshipping for like, at least I would say like all my career. So I would say that you need to look at these criteria. So even if you have, let's say, you see a product online that's trending, it's really a good product, I would still validate it. So you're still here, even that in that case. But you need to validate. Validating product would go through these criteria. And I went through them. If you want to really go into like you have a product you have in mind, then
Yeah.
you're kind of in the last step of this category, like in this here, and you need to just make sure that these are aligning, like the margins, demand, and differentiation. So you have a product where you know your numbers, and it's not like a low, like high break even that doesn't make sense. And that competition is kind of driving organic because they might be driving organic trends, and you need to position yourself properly. So I would do the validation. And if you look at the call that we did, it's a recorded call. We did like yesterday, I think, or sorry, a day ago maybe. That
Okay.
call, I went through like 4 different validation criteria. You need to do that. So we're kind of in the last level here, so validation. And you don't have to do the call with me like to validate like this one here, but I would just make sure that the ideas is good and then go
Yeah.
to branding. So yeah, you don't need to search if you have something in mind, just validate it.
Oh, I see. To validate it, can I use the Google Trend or that's different tools?
That's one of the parts. So margins is the numbers, demand is Google Trend. And also you're gonna add in probably like volume in Amazon and like SEMrush. So all of these is this is this category, like demand and trend. So you're gonna that's one of the criteria, but I still need to validate the margins. I need to still look at the avatar and differentiation. I still need other competition. So it's actually another one I forgot about. These are my go-to like ways to validate, and you need to do this process because otherwise you're just jumping to a step and then burning quickly the things, and you're launching a product without necessarily analyzing all this, and that's gonna in the long term cause more issues than speed. It's gonna be a problem. So even if you want to speed up the process, I'll still make sure I do all this again in the right exact like order. Because if I do them right, I can scale much more cleaner, and that's like most of the time my structure. So I do it like structurally like well, but it's really fast because I don't do like 12 things multiple times. So that's going to be how I think about it. Let me see the questions. Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask, by the way. I know that these are great questions in terms of structure. Perry, if my main product can benefit a very broad customer group, in general, that have infants, and it's also strongly benefit a small group. Moms dealing with more of a very more intensive problem. Do you suggest targeting both groups or just focusing on the small customer group? So yeah, smaller first. It's more narrowed down. I'll start probably with this one because it's just easier for you. So, you know, like this is like a very much like a, if it's actually the pain point is high. So let's say like it's I think something I saw yesterday. So like migrant problem. And I really think I looked at one of an idea in the migrant department. And let's say you have like, this is like a 10 out of 10 pain level, right? So you're like, you know, this is like a solution for this. It's going to be a pain. Like it's going to be like a solution for something that's very painful. If your audience like is very niche, again, you can like, you have like this segment and it's like this audience, and it's like a very high, like a kind of a painful thing, and you have a good solution for it, then you need to really find them faster. You can just talk about like, go with these criteria of this avatar because it's just a more I would say targeted avatar. So it's like it's just an easier way. Like it's easier to find them as an audience. I would say yes. I'll go with more targeted. Yes, you can. Go ahead. You have another question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks. One of the things I'm thinking about doing, or I've just had the idea, is while I'm working on my main product, so it's going to be with moms that are dealing with a lot of baby like spit up and dribble and things like that. So while I'm in the works of getting my samples made and all going through the process of getting that product ready, I was thinking of, because I'm also very much connected and tuned into the print on demand possibilities. And so I was thinking of also launching like a pre-product of like baby onesies with like humorous, like humorous onesies and stuff that will just kind of bring some comic relief to this very specific customer group. And so I'm wondering like how to approach using the Google spreadsheet. Do I plug in the same numbers for the onesies to see if that the margins are good there, or I just kind of start there? Because I was also thinking that could be a way to bring people into the store and then do the pre-sale and let them know, oh, coming soon is this other product you can really benefit from. I'm just curious what you think about that. Mm-hmm.
So you have like, let's say this kind of situation, I would like every time, this is how I think about it. Every product, I would think about it like separately. Right? So let's say I have two different prices, so two different products, two different offers. I need to analyze them like individually. So it's going to be like individual, like anytime you're pricing something for an audience, it's going to be how much I'm selling it for and how much it costs me. These are the two things I'm always looking at, like cost and price, right? Even for the same product, like I'm selling the same product, I'm just like lowering the price for a specific audience. That's a new product situation here, some of the numbers. So you need to analyze them like every single time. Like, what is this opportunity? Because you're going to be looking at acquiring customers, right? And you're going to be looking at how much it costs you and how much you can afford to get like a customer in terms of running ads. So these two here, like how much you can actually afford in general, put in a yellow, and how much you should get your customer for, like the CPA target. So you need to analyze that every single time. That's first thing. So Google Sheet, every single opportunity, every single price, every change in that should be analyzed separately. It's the first thing. Second thing, for the market and kind of niche structure and how you can do that, that's going to be up to two things. First, if I have two kind of ways to get to this audience, I'm thinking about the niche one, not because I want to have a smaller audience. It's just because if I was looking at this, like, let's say, group of population, right? and you have mothers. I'd actually, to be clear here, I'll pick another, and it's going to be like, I know it's going to be messy in terms of just like whiteboards because I have a lot of them. But let's say this is like Australia, and let's say these are, say, moms. Again, not proportionally right, but I'm just giving an example. So for the market, and this is the same mothers, and this is actually the profile you're talking about here, like another profile, so avatar that we're looking at. If I was just running an ad, and I'm very broad, like I'm just like trying to go broad, then I don't have probably, like, let's say, the ability to talk to, let's say, all the mothers properly. So if I run like an ad with, let's say, showing them like a baby maybe or something like that, like they might not react well to me. So the engagement might be like low. By default, my CPC will be high. So my cost per acquisition might be very high because they saw this before. They saw something like this. So it's not like it's engaging with them a lot. The idea when you're niche down is I'm actually doing content that's very specific. So it's calling out not only mothers, but mothers with something specific. Let's say they like to work out and or do yoga, or they kind of stress because of something, or they have a baby with a certain problem, or something like that. So this is going to engage much better because I'm actually talking to not only mothers, but I'm talking to them with something they have in particular that they didn't see in the past. Most probably because I'm providing it a custom way. So here my engagement would be much higher, and by default my CPA would be really good because I'm pretty much playing the algorithm. I'm bringing a content that's very engaging, and they're reacting to it in terms of just like the content. So that's why you go much more when you do like the niche structure. You're kind of finding your audience much better. So you're very much impactful in terms of this. Like if I was to take this piece of content and throw it in this like market, these people, they're going to react to it very strongly. Right? That's the goal. If I was to take the same thing, another piece of like content, and throw it in this like market, the mothers might not react that much. So it might be like, oh, they've seen it before. It's like the reaction, like the impact would be like this. But this impact might be full. So you're looking at like how the impact would be, if that makes sense. So I hope this makes
Yeah.
sense.
Thanks.
So
The
I
only
would
thing is,
always
like,
go with
the larger group also, it's for moms that have babies that like spit up a lot, and that's like up to 50% of all babies like have a lot of spit up. And so this product would kind of, I think, resonate with about 50% of all moms. But then there's like a much smaller group that have kids with more extreme cases of this, like reflux and stuff.
So think about this. The best example I talked about actually earlier is the migraine problem. So let's say you have, let's say I have like level 1 for example, if I go out and I don't have, let's say, like there's like a strong sun or whatever, like I have actually, let's say, some headache, right? My problem is not high. So I have this problem, right? So I have like, this is the 50%. So I have this problem, but it's like 5 out of 10. So it's not necessarily chronic level. So if you show me an ad, I'll actually be engaged, but I'll be like, I don't have it to an extreme level for me to really like jump on it. But if I go with people that if they have migraine problem, they have like chronic level, and they can't even walk because of the pain, and there are a group of people like that, their pain level is 10 out of 10. It's very customized to them. They're gonna jump on the ad. They have this problem. They feel it. They not look at the price. They're gonna jump on. This is a problem that they're facing and they want to remove, and it's just a burden. So same thing for your problem. If it's like affecting 50% of the moms and it's like a pain of 5 out of 10, so it's not necessarily very aggressive, then they might react to it, but it's going to be a little bit less. But if you have let's say 30% out of that 50% that actually have chronic problem, like you can talk to them about this chronic problem, they're going to react much better because they're going to be like, oh, we have this problem. They're not going to look at the price anymore. So we're talking about like really pain. If I see this, I'm going to be like, I have this problem for years or for like 6 months or like whatever period, and I want to solve it. It's like you're going to see like much more reaction from that audience. So the goal here would be probably if the pain level is higher in the chronic level and it's a good size as an audience, then I'll be targeting them with really like, this is for you. Like you with a chronic issue or you have this extreme level of this problem. And I'm going to be targeting all my marketing about that. I'm going to be talking about that problem specifically because I'm going to be, again, I'm looking at how can I just hyper target that audience and really get an impact of 10 out of 10. And again, if that's not the case, like this is a very small audience and it's not necessarily worth I'd say I need to really push the price and it's just not enough, then I'll go with a bigger audience and I'll try to have an impact. But I know that probably the niche bound would be the best, just in terms of the structure in general, in terms of ease of marketing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Which course provide the resource to provide your product? It's Monday morning one. So it's not it's a coaching session I have. Yes, it's Monday, and you have the modules like all that. It's like two things. So that's for that. So I'll start with the things that we talked about. So just to kind of go into that. So we have the avatar, and here when I say avatar, we're kind of looking at who are the competition kind of targeting, right? So that's kind of my thinking. Are they targeting something in particular, someone, and who is that person? And how can we analyze that offer? So that's going to be like kind of how I start my marketing. And most of the time, what I use in this case here, I'm using the competition, but most of the time I use like the copy to understand who are they targeting, like what's happening, and who is that person. And that's, if you look at your competition, you're going to be able to see the whole like end, right? So what I do most of the time, I'll just go here. You're going to do Facebook ad library. And just this Facebook ad library. And we're going to pick a competitor, and we're going to look at, and I need to delete this. I don't know why I'm actually loading this page, but let's remove this. And in Facebook ad library, you can actually, if you go to Facebook ad library, you can go with like any country. You can put all for everyone in the marketplace and put all ads, and then you can put in a keyword. This keyword right now, it's going to give you like if you have like an audience, let's say you're looking at a market with, let's say you're selling like yoga mats, you can put in yoga mat, let's say baby monitors, you can put like the keyword that's going to relate to your niche, and you're going to see people advertising for that, let's say for that keyword. And let's say here, I'll actually just go with beauty, just specifically because I wanted to use this as an example. But let's say this brand here, so its like name is Botanic Paris. I need to find them. Okay, so this brand here. So this brand, ideally they're running ads. Let's see if they're doing it. Unless, I thought they were doing it. If not, then we're gonna look at another brand. But let's see. Okay, so they're not running ads for this page. So I need to come back. 1 second. They have probably multiple pages, so I don't want to go into this. But let's say this page here. Okay, so I'll just pick another brand. Okay, say skin beauty. So I'll just keep it broad. And let's look at a random brand and see how can we, I'll just change the market to Australia. Same thing, ads, skin beauty, just again, dot keywords, just to see like different brands and analyze like a little bit their market. So let's go with one thing here. Okay, so let's go with this here. And another brand. I'll go with 2 of them. Just again, I want to analyze like these markets. I'll go with 3 or 4. I'm just okay. So let's start with this here. I'll put about us, page transparency, currently running ads. Go to the ads, and we're gonna look at their ads, right? So here, when you're looking at again analyzing the customers, and we see the comment with an audience with a specific problem, be approximately between 25 people per year, be too small. And then of this, what is the realistic expectation of how many buy to work? Okay, so maybe conservative with our MLP, let's say, for example, 1% of that specific target audience in different funds. So 200 people to 300 people per year. So like you're putting per year. So I'm like curious about like why per year, and it's just not like the size of the audience. So it's a growing audience, maybe every single year they're adding like a number, or just like that's probably what I'm thinking about. But 200,000 people to 300, it's not necessarily a big audience. It's like for Australia, it might be like a small one, I would say. But yeah, so this is not a big audience. I would probably look for something in the millions, ideally, like a million would be good. But yeah, it's not a small audience as well, but it's just like, it's not very small. It's just a little bit small. And then of this, what is the realistic expectation of how many people work? So you can't expect the buying power of an audience because it might be very high. It's more of like, how big is this market? Like if you go with like the broad market, how many people, but also what's the size of the market in terms of like billions of dollars or something like that. You can look at that value of the market and be like, okay, it's a big market. And in the end, if I see like we're talking about 200,000 people, then I'm looking probably at a higher ticket item. Right? So I'm looking at something that's more expensive in general than a cheap, let's say $10 item, because otherwise it's going to be more difficult to scale, right? But yeah, for the MOQ, all the time as low as possible. That's always my target. So if we can just if you just like remove that gap entirely, like just like no, like I can just get some samples that I don't have to pay for the cost of goods. That's probably what I would do. It's like I'll try to lower the cost of goods all the time. So looking at the avatar here, so this is awesome. So this is like this is the copy they have and the ads they're running. So what I did here, just for anyone looking at this, I went through Meta, that library. So I'll add in that link, just like what you should search. It's I'll actually copy this, I think, much better, so that you guys can do the same thing. Facebook Meta ad library. Just give me the link. Okay, this one here. Copy the link just to be sure that it's actually the link. Oh, it's not. Let's click on it. Okay, this one here. And I'll share it with you guys so that you can guys do the same thing. Chat. That's the link. If you go to that link, you're gonna be able to see something like this. You can pick the country. This is going into all the inventory of ads in Meta. And then you can pick all ads and put a keyword. So this is what I did. And then you're gonna have like all type of ads. And I just like these are active ads. You can see when they publish the ads. So this is started running on August 11th. That's the date. And you have some things that have been running for a while. And I'm just looking at the type of brands that are running ads here for this keyword and analyzing them. So that's what pretty much I'm doing. Now, for the first brand that I'm looking at here, which is Love Beauty Skin Clinic, and they are an Australian brand, at least in the targeting. And I can see here they have these ads that they have active. So if I'm thinking about this profile, it's clear that they're doing some kind of before and after. So they have a solution for something, right? And you can see it. Connect the dots to your skin condition with our exclusive Love Beauty Skin consultation. So they're doing actually consultations, right? Treating acne. So you can see the problem. It's acne. So this avatar have acne problems. Require a holistic approach addressing the root cause from the inside out or comprehensive consultation. So they're going into a consulting session and they're talking about like the solution. So for me, it's actually easier to see this avatar, like what's their problem. You can see it, like it's a before and after they're doing, and they're going with clearly a longer format in copy because they want to, they want to address some problems, and it's probably a 10 out of 10 problems because it's an acne problem. Not comprehensive, so they're going at what they're providing, and they're going with we try to avoid. So here you can see that they kind of going into against like the flow for others. We try to avoid temporary fixes, so they know in time wasters. So they know the audience actually would not like to waste time, and they already tried something else. You're trying to catch them on that part here in the copy, so it's very smartly positioned. While products and treatment can clear and refine the skin temporary long-term, so they're mentioning here that probably this is a long-term solution, and they're kind of going into like a little bit of knowledge of what they know, and this is like a full, let's say, ad here where the goal would be showing before and after for this avatar. And you can see also the age that they probably they have like a good understanding of their audience, obviously. And yeah, they're trying to really advertise this like 1 hour consulting, which I'm assuming they have some products on the back end to sell. So this is like analyzing quickly this copy. You can see they have like 2 different copy variation. That's what they're doing. So they have like this, I would say, avatar, and they're trying different things. So this before and after confirms, so actually telling it's a before and after. You can see that this is this is what they do, and this is the problem that they're looking to kind of treat, right? And this is like how I would analyze just a little bit an avatar. Like who are they targeting? I can see the problem, right? And we can even give it like a skin biopsy. So I'm assuming like this is anyway. So this is like how you would look at your competition: is understand what's happening and reading like literally like the copy to understand like who's the person that this is kind of addressed to. And here I know that they're addressing this again to a person with any problem. And they have been kind of doing this for a while and they didn't get any results. And it seems like they're looking for a long-term solution. And they clearly like you're going with knowledge in this category. And you can see here before and after. I can see some pictures. So this is how I would analyze this avatar, right? Now experience the benefit. So I'm assuming this is a retargeting, but it kind of according to ChatGPT, small customer group is, if this number is correct, this is a decent size customer group. So I would actually not necessarily trust ChatGPT in these numbers, because most of the time ChatGPT in like statistics is not the most accurate, specifically like with an audience, like I would say, with audience sizes. But yeah, I think like this is, could you maybe use a chat to tell me like what's the profile of that audience, like what are the characteristics of that audience? So that's probably something I would look at. But let's click on shop now. So they're selling this product, and this is kind of their offer right now. So like this home, like Frin lymphatic home kit. And I was looking at like, let's say what they have right now as an offer or price. First, they don't have any discounts, which is kind of surprising, but they're probably like going into consulting and then selling maybe something like this. So I'm probably assuming this is what they do as a structure. And your goal right now, if you were to analyze this product and compete against them, it is to understand like what's their marketing structure. So what are they doing and who's like the target audience? And I clearly know the profile right now just from reading the avatar part. So you can see Love Beauty Skin is a fundamental based on a client care, providing support and information to assist our clients in achieving a transformation result. So they're sending to Instagram. Probably they have like a good Instagram presence, I'm assuming, because they're sending people to Instagram. Let me see. So yeah, I assume that. So they have like more of a clear like structure in terms of how they're sending traffic. So they want to let people know about their business a little bit, the policies, consulting, and so on. And I'm assuming they're going to see like a lot of content related to their audience, and it's a before and after released. So you can see here that the customer avatar is very clear. Like you don't need to think a lot about it, and they're addressing a main pain point. This is pain, and they're showing it with the before and after to show that they have actually results. So you can see before and after, 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 same age group, and before and after. So you know their main pain point, and you know the solution they're providing, and clearly they're focusing on a before and after structure, right? Pain point, avatar, everything is clear, I think, in this like case. And this is how I would, for example, analyze an avatar from the let's say petition, if that makes sense. Does this make sense for you guys? Just in terms of the structure, moms with infant tax here. Okay, I would probably for like this one here, so moms with infant. If you take like the acid reflux level and maybe look at some statistics in the US, for example, I'm assuming you might get like from Google search just like a little bit more information. Is it actually this number? If it's this number, like serious, like severe, then I would go with like a little bit broad. Like what's just I could say acid reflux problem and what's severe. Maybe we can target those two avatars together. So it doesn't mean like it's like that thing, but 125, let's say. This is again how many zeros? I'm really bad at this. Okay, 2025. So yeah, 125. Okay, so it's not necessarily like a massive audience, but it is like a small audience. So I'll probably looking to make it a little bit bigger. So yes. So for the avatar analysis here from the competition, so the first layer here. I need to find my yes here. Does this make sense? Facebook ad library, copy analysis. Okay. Who's the avatar? Before and after. To copy. Problem solution. Does this guys make sense? And I wanted some feedback. Like, is it clear like the way I'm doing things right now, or it just like feels like it's like not structured? So I'm curious about that. What do you guys think? So in terms of just like analyzing the copy to actually identify the avatar, like just doing the Facebook ad library thing. So what do you guys think? So if I was to put in like understanding of this and like the process, is it clear or something is off? Like you don't understand this process that I did right now. Daniel, yes, making sense. Okay. I want to make sure that you guys really participate in this just to be sure that it's clear, because otherwise, like, it might be not clear for everyone. And if it's not clear, like, what is actually Avatar? What are we doing? Let me know. I'll try to structure this much better. So please use the chat. I only have like one feedback. I want to get at least half of the audience, right? 7. So I want you guys to use the chat and tell me, like, is this clear? Is it not clear? Something is off? You know, let me know. And again, I want participation of at least half. So if you're listening to this, you need to put in clear, not clear questions. So I have 2. Still, the session might end here. I'm just waiting, and I'm not gonna be advancing unless I get a confirmation. So we're gonna have to wait for this one because I need feedback. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's clear. Okay. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're very close to being good, but I still need more participation. Like half of it, and I'll consider like I'm winning an election here. I'll be like, oh, good. I can move with this. I can accept the fate. It's positive. Okay, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna have to actually show like half is not 7, it's 8. Actually, not half. If I was to win an election, should be more than half. So yeah, I should be at 8. So I want you guys to be at 8. But I can feel like at the end of the call, I'm not going with against the majority, right? That's always a goal here. Or that I could get bad feedback, and like, no, you're not. Okay, 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't see it, but there's like one that's in the direct messages. So actually, I counted that. That's like 8. Okay, good. So we have the final confirmation. Taking over here. Yeah, it's like I want to make sure that everything is kind of we're agreeing on something, right? Because otherwise, at least if I get a bad feedback, then I got a confirmation in the middle of the call that you guys by majority you liked it. Oh, it's just like a good thing. I'm like, oh, it's not awesome. So yeah, I want to make sure that you guys are learning from this, because it's just not the goal. It's not just for me to come in and state some facts. It's actually to see what makes sense and how can we learn from this. Anyway, so going back to the avatar, so this is how I would analyze the competition, right? And thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yes, so this is for the customer avatars. And now we're gonna look at the offer, because that's another like story. But just before doing that, I shared with you guys the library structure. So searching that in, like looking at different competition, right? Let's go a little bit like into another competitor, because I clicked just on one. So I want to see another one just to do that very quickly. And then we're gonna look at the offers, specifically the gaps that we talked about. Like, what are the gaps? Let me see here. What are they doing? So here I'm going to be doing the same thing. So they have active ads. They've been running in for like since 12th of August. I can see the date they published the ads, which was like 2 days ago. And I see Elevate Your Ad Game with our Bro Wax and Hybrid Stained. And you can see that clearly again a before and after to certain levels. And they're telling you to book again. So I feel like I'm just getting into like stores where they're trying to book consulting or something, but you see the problem. So I can actually see that, who are they targeting? But it seems it's an age, like looking at this picture, they're not targeting like a younger demographic. I feel like they're just kind of in the middle, and probably don't have a lot of active ads. So my structure would be a little bit more like cautious about this, because I don't have a lot of information. But ideally, you go with a person or a brand that they have like a lot of active ads that you can look at to analyze. For example, here, let me see, Australia. So they're in Australia. And by the way, when you do this, you can actually see when they created the business, which was 2020. And I can look at their active ads. And ideally, you see a lot of active ads that you can analyze, like the, let's say the avatar. In this case here, they've been running this for like since July 2024. So it's been like maybe nearly a month. And the most gorgeous combo bro and lip transformation. So I can see what they're doing here. And was the settle Facebook 30% lip. So you can understand like exactly who are they targeting and they're doing before and after. So in beauty space specifically, you're gonna see a lot of before and after, even though in Meta they don't necessarily approve before and after, but they're kind of playing on the risk level here. But they're doing a lot of kind of before and after or some kind of transformation, which work really well with the beauty space. So in terms of lashes, skincare, things like that, they just show like a before and after to get the attention and show results. So that's how they probably would segment their business in general. So now looking at the like gaps, right? And I'll pick like a specific brand, because I have it in just, I know it's like probably like a luxurious one, or not so luxurious, popular one. And I'll go with Skims, which is kind of in the higher end structures. And I'll explain this in a second, but Skims is a massively big brand. It's actually, I think, one of the biggest in the space in terms of the category, right? And this brand here is also a premium one in terms of just prices, right? It's not cheap. Right? I'll just thank you very much for the session. Awesome. Thank you. So I'm picking it because I actually analyzed them in terms of their offer, and they're very expensive, like in the market. Like Skims would sell higher than the others. Now they have authority in the space, obviously, and they're, you know, they have Kim Kardashian and so on, like leading in that side, so they can actually, you know, they can sustain those kind of prices. But looking at their offer in general, and I actually again looked at this space in the past, consulted businesses that actually competed with them and made volume in terms of sales. Their prices, if I go to shop now, but I'll go to their like general products, their prices are high in general. So this store, the prices are high. Like they're selling in general higher than the audience that, you know, higher than the regular people or the regular businesses. And if you're looking at, for example, Skims and you're looking to compete with them, which again, the consulting guy did actually, he competed with them and he did about 1 million in like probably like a few months. Like the way he did the way he competed with them was literally, and I need to change the price because it's showing like it's showing it's showing another currency, so I need to, yeah, it's here. Sorry, I'll just change this because I'm in Thailand. It's going to show Thailand, so let me put in Australia. Okay, let's save this. Awesome. So just to see the prices, and let's go with their shapewear, specifically the bodysuit, because this is a one that was very trendy, and I'll go with this one here. So this product right now is selling for like $128. So this one here, if I was analyzing this product, it's actually in the shapewear space. And if I was to put in, let's say, bodysuit, and I take it in Meta, I don't know if it's actually a brand or still advertising this, but this is an expensive product, and the Gap in this market was actually providing the same thing for an audience, but cheaper. For example, they're more positioned as an authority in the space, and they're leading with their ads, so they're kind of providing a solution. Now, analyzing this brand right now, and again, I did that with in the consulting side, and I looked at another one successfully competing with them, or not competing with them, just taking a small portion of the market actually. But anyway, the way they analyze this, we have a product that people are looking for. So let's say because of the branding and Kim Kardashian kind of leading in that space and advertising, they're looking at how can they price strategically. This is not necessarily what you want to do if you're not experienced. But if you're experienced, what they did, like the brand I consulted, they actually looked at this offer they have and they were like, how about actually we advertise the same product, but we give them more value? So we're kind of playing on the price, but specifically using like this brand, like Skims, as a kind of a, you should not get them because, you know, they're overpriced, and positioning a gap of audience that can't afford to pay these kind of prices while they get the same product in the essence of it. And this is probably, if I put in like bodysuit, it should, like, you should see some of these stores, they're doing the same thing probably. And that's like, let's see if there's actually, 1 second. Oh, it's not, okay, I'll pick one actually. Let's go with one that I have in mind. This one here, for example, let's pick this one. So they're selling technically the same product, and they're selling it for a fraction of the price, I would say, or it's not a fraction, but like similarly a good price. And they're doing also a BOGO offer, if I remember well. So it's like they're doing a BOGO offer for it. So here is, I think it looks better on mobile, just because they optimize the store for mobile. Let me see. Yeah, you can see here it's much better on mobile. So anyway, this brand actually popped a lot on Snapchat. What they did is they targeted a specific audience. So like if I was looking at the audience that teams are targeting, it's I would say like a different size. This is like more of a plus size. And they're also doing a buy one, get one free. So they're providing more value. So more value, different audience, so segment of the audience that was not treated. And on top of this, so if I was looking at, you mentioned like what is like the offer and position that you can have, like structure, right? So you have a massive audience for skims, and it's an expensive product. If you go a little bit narrow, so we're going to be going like in terms of sizes. There's like a plus size, so we're like in this, like say, a part of that audience, and we're providing them more value. So buy one, get one free. So it's an offer that's not necessarily in the market with skims. So you're going to see more value in price and something specific to their audience. This is a segmented, I would say, structure. And this is how probably this brand is positioned. Obviously, it's not the one I consulted, but you get the idea. So you see the point here in terms of just segment of the audience, and then targeting them again. You see the price here is much lower, and they're targeting an audience, a subcategory of that audience. So they're doing the same thing I talked about earlier here. So they're going with something very like a specific audience in that, and probably the ads are going into that part. It's not going to be like just showing you like shapewear. It's going to be talking about, like, if I was to look probably at the ads and they popped on Snapchat, it's going to be like how this would solve problems such as like it's going to hold better, like I say, like it shape better the body. So it's going to be like more of probably talking about it. Let me see here. You can see here like create a smooth silhouette and adjustable. So they're probably going to be talking about it to a certain so sculpting bodysuits, and they're going to probably talk about even more than that here. So it's more about that angle, and again, they're competing with a big brand. So it's like $1 billion plus, and this is probably not even millions, but you understand the structure, I think, in this level. So yeah, that's for the an example of like a gap. Pretty much big audience, small audience, pricing, and they kind of targeting a specific audience. I hope it makes sense. If it does, I know this one here probably is just an example, but I can provide others. But I'm curious to know about you guys if this makes sense to move just right now. Market going deeper, avatar one, box in box. So feedback. I'm probably not going to be looking for the majority this time, but just understanding if this is actually this was kind of going over that part here. Niche 2.0, yes, awesome. I was just looking at if this would make sense. So do you guys have any questions? So yes, I was surprised to see that their price was so much lower. Yeah, it's like most of the time, like you're gonna see they're gonna play on these things, much lower price and things like that. So do you guys have any questions regarding like we talked about today? So avatar analysis using the competition. I did answer like different questions, so it was not necessarily just avatar, but you can still ask questions that are not necessarily related to avatar. So if you have like something that's just popping right now, like, oh, I have this question, can I do this? Can I do that? So I'm very curious to know about this. But just to let you know, for this product, just to give you guys some time and talk about it like specifically, because I did analyze it a lot. So this one here, you have like a lot of competition coming in with different angles. So you have brands that did the same thing. So they went with a lower price, a very segmented audience. So let's say plus size or something like that. And they went into even a different market, so Germany. And they were like, Skims is not necessarily advertising aggressively in Germany. They are, but they're not, European level kind of going into their audience in details. And there are a lot of brands that are tapping in that audience. So very untapped market. So Germany, Italy, Spain, they're coming in with different angles with the same product, cheaper. So they're letting Skim kind of Skims is leading, and they're kind of following and making a good price and segmented offer. So not only just the plus size, some of them actually goes to just a different market and try to target the same product. So let's say Brazil, let's say things like that. So it's going to be like a different market, if that makes sense. When we are working out selling price, do we need to take it to a consideration sell price? I know Christmas, for example. Not initially, so probably I would not worry about that, because most of the time when you do this, unless it's like a final, like you want to do this 10%, let's say you want to do this by default in your price, but if it's just sign up, that's okay. Sign up, you don't have to consider, because most of the time the analysis we're doing is if we're doing it without any discount. So we can remove the 10%. It should not affect our business, like for the sign up, right? So Christmas offer, same thing. It's just an offer for Christmas, so we're looking to have a higher conversion rate. So I would not look at that those offers. I'll just look at the base price, and then we can adjust based on these opportunities. So it's going to affect your like the ROAS, but still in the essence, we can revert back. So that's why we go with the base. So that's going to be that side. So just to answer your question, do you guys have any questions? Again, just anything related to what I talked about and or anything you have in mind. I will add in and I'll give you some time to fill this. It's a feedback form. I know that I've been pushy on that side, but I want you guys to give us the feedback. It's how we improve and also see if this is a good structure. Every time we get a good feedback, we look at, okay, this is good. Maybe we should do more of this, and or maybe we change this. Every time I get this feedback, so I want you guys to use the feedback form. So click on it. It's going to load the feedback. Take the time. I'll give you some time right now. Click on it. Put a feedback, and yeah, I'm going to be going through all of them. So if you enjoyed this, you'll learn from it. Let me know. If you didn't enjoy, didn't learn from it, result good, let me know. So both ends. And yeah, I want a good participation in this to just make sure that I understand what you guys are looking for. How can I help you? And it's not just about me coming in and telling you, oh, I know how to do this and how to do that, and kind of just spit some content. I really want to make sure that you guys are learning, understanding, and growing. So every week we can kind of dive into your questions and grow your knowledge so that you can actually stack that interest. So sorry, not that interest, stack that knowledge. And yeah, so any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, the feedback form is there, and I want you guys to use it. Really. How many customer avatars would you suggest we create? Okay, so that's a tough one in general because I would go with like if I can go with a broad one, that's okay. So like one where we have like a massive audience, but in general, there's no limitation. So I would in my ads probably if I can target 2 or 3 avatars with the same offer, that's what I will do. So in general, like say 2 different audiences I can target, they kind of 2 different avatars. So I'll start with that. So it's going to be like more of how big that that angle or that avatar is in general in my ads. So let's say I'll just share with you. So let's say you have like a product, and then you have an offer, and that offer you can actually advertise it to different avatars. Like let's say a lot of them. Avatar 1, 2, 3, and avatar 4. So let's say 4 different people, but same product. They're not changing the product, right? So I would actually just do my ads or creators or contents for 2 of them and see the impact, which one is actually the more like profitable in terms of my ROAS or return on ad spend. And then I'll scale that. If this is not good, then I'll try another one, like just to see how the, like, again, the same thing, market and the impact of my content. Like, is it big? Is it small? And I'm looking at using the ads and data to actually make a decision. So I can target as much as possible as long as it doesn't require me to like do a lot of changes. Let's say your content needs to be revamped because here you're targeting 30, this and 50. So it's kind of the age group, and here it's like 20 and 30. And you have only content for these 2 audiences, and I'll start with that. So it's all based on like the ingredients you have. If you don't have, you can't target all the avatars because just you can't do content for everyone. So I'll just start with one avatar, focus on it, target it, and kind of build my marketing around it. And then have in mind that there is another avatar that I can explore and just explore it as I can get. I can get that information or that ingredient. So it's all based on like how much I would say pivoting I can do. So if I have like content that would be good for all of them, then I'll try all of them. If I have content that's just good for one avatar, I'll just do one avatar. If my offer need to be changed every single time or my content need to be changed, I'll start with one. Just because you don't want to complex things. I want to always like do one thing. So one product, one offer, and one channel, ideally, initially. For the avatar, that's the only thing that I might have 2 to 3, just if it's like matching this structure. But if I need to change my offer and change my channel and change my product a little bit, then no, I'll do one avatar. If I have like more options, then I'll go with like the avatar I can. So just to answer your question, I hope it does. Yeah, if it doesn't, let me know. It's like not clear. Okay, thank you. So awesome. Next call, it's gonna be the next week for this structure. I want you guys to we kind of went into like the different options from avatar analysis and things like that. I want you guys to watch this content again and come next time with kind of like your understanding on this. Can you do it alone? And we're probably going to see if you guys can do this research a little bit. So I want you to do a little bit of research. Try to do the same thing. Ad library, analyzing that customer avatar from your competition. Add it in a Google Doc if you can. If you do, I'll be pretty much looking to help you with that. So next time, bring in through this process, bring it, and we can look at it and kind of analyze it together. If you don't have it, then it's okay. I'll still kind of go over the same thing just to make sure that this is clear, because it's a very crucial part for the business and understanding the avatar. But I want you guys to do that part. The person that would do it, they're going to get a feedback and they're going to get something to work on and to move improvement. So I would encourage you guys to do it. Come next time and bring in some content that you worked on to move avatar. It doesn't have to be